Well, welcome to the logging road. I like to come up here sometimes because, yeah, it's just a nice sort of scenery. And at the same time, I don't know, I just feel like the forest just loves me. You know what I mean? Like, even the graffiti on the barricade here is so positive all the time. So I feel like, you know, I'm embraced by nature, you know? Yeah, icon, hip hop, Jamis, icon. What's this say? Jason sucks. Okay, not every part of nature embraces me, but I still like it up here anyway.
Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding Mountain. And today I'm going to talk to you about a program that isn't really a program. Now, I just had somebody in the comments ask me about instinctual training and whether that could work, where they just go into the gym and basically decide in that moment what feels like it needs training or not. Now, whether this can be effective or not is going to be based on the individual. And what I mean by this is that people have different levels of awareness, right? They are very in tune with sensations in their body or not so in tune. I could tell this by the type of questions I get all the time from people. Some people are totally in tune. They could tell when they have this sensation happening in the body, they know that they need a high rep day. And if they have that sensation, that means they need a low rep day, or they need to do more of a stretching exercise instead of a contraction exercise, and so forth. Now, it will take you time to establish this awareness and this wisdom, right? The ability to interpret these different forms of input, you could say, right? Sensory input. And once you start to be able to do that, then you start to be able to make decisions based on how you feel. But if you don't have this wisdom, if you're a person that's still out of touch, I could say on some level, you feel like you're not advanced quite yet, you haven't become a Jedi of muscular tension, then you are the type of person that probably should stick to a program and stay with it for at least 6 weeks or so, or 3 months, and then change programs and really start to experience what different programs do to your body and how it makes you feel, right? And you have to, unfortunately, make some mistakes along the way and see what sensations led up to those mistakes. Right? And this takes time. Unfortunately, you just can't speed up this process. You can't skip a step, right? So I would say for advanced people, and you see this all the time, more advanced people who have been in the trenches in bodybuilding or fitness for a long time, they start to make decisions that lean more to the instinctual side rather than to the regimented program side. They're not so stuck in a program or not. They will make micro or macro adjustments, right? Minor adjustments or major ones, depending on how they feel, and then they respond that way, right? Even great coaches, right? Great coaches, when they work with somebody, they don't necessarily just give them a program and say, okay, I'll see you later, just stick to it. They will make adjustments along the way based on what they see as happening in the individual. But ultimately, sensations in your body will show you what is happening. And to prove my point of how instinctually tuned in that I am, I'm going to resist the urge, even though I'm thirsty, I'm going to resist the urge to drink from that mud puddle right there. I know, I can feel inside, it's probably not going to be right. Unless I want to have a visit from Montezuma, but I can feel it already. I don't have to make that mistake. See how wise I am? Sure looks good though. Stop filming. Stop filming. Right? Like, I know when I feel pumped. I know when I feel strong. I know when I feel weak. I know when I feel more prone to injury or less prone. Like, these feelings move through my sensory perception, right? Whereas when I first started training for the first 5, 10, 15 years, I didn't have the same, let's just say, awareness level. It wasn't on the deep level that it is now. So this does take time to establish, but if you feel that you're at this place, then instinctual training could be a great way to train, where you feel like, hey, this area feels flat today, or it feels fully recovered and it needs to contract and I need to pump some blood in there, or Another area feels like it needs to feel some real deep tension on there. You can just get a sense of what that feels like and then make adjustments in your training program accordingly. Which is why right now with my program, I'm doing whole body workouts, but I'm doing really easy workouts, and then I'll throw in a hard workout here and there. But for the most part, it's just easy going through the motions, and then I work my way up into an intense workout on certain body parts depending on how I feel that day. So I am moving more so in this instinctual side of things, more often than not. I may have a general structure of, say, a 2-day split or something that I work with, but more often than not, I'll throw in something here and there that changes things up just because I feel like my body needs it or so. The same thing is also true with days off. I had somebody ask me about how many days off do I take a week and so forth. Now, that depends on the intensity that I'm training. And I find that if I can take off 1 day a week, maybe 2, but most of the time it's 1 day a week, I feel great. And I find that I'm better off doing things the way I'm doing right now, where I only need 1 day off a week instead of 2 or 3, because I find I get disconnected from the whole, blood flow process, right? So I feel much better when I work out more often, even if the workouts are extremely easy sometimes, instead of taking multiple days off, because I find that is, it's almost like the rigor mortis sets in. I don't know whether I'm so old, maybe that's what happens. But I find that I'm better off just constantly reminding the body what it needs to do. It needs to be able to move. And then I have the more intense workouts. But if I do intense all the time, then I may need more than 1 day off a week. I may need 2 days off, or I may eventually hit an overtraining stage, right? So the final thing I'm gonna say is that when I'm doing whole body workouts, if I do intense all the time, what happens is I can only really get away with that for about 3 or 4 days in a row, and then I start to feel burnout hitting, right? Even if I'm only doing 2 or 3 sets per body part, I start to feel the burnout hit. And because of that, then I have to take 2 or 3 days off. And I find that goes against my goals. It doesn't necessarily help me. I find I get thrown out of the training process, right? So you don't want to ever overtrain. You want to touch it, but not go into it, because then you hit burnout and then your recovery goes down. So yeah. So that's all I got to say about that. I'm having 2 cars drive by me here. I always find it hilarious when Toyota Corollas come up the logging road. Like, I've popped several mud tires on this logging road, like from hitting sharp rocks and stuff. And these guys are just going with the all-season radials, banging their oil pans on potholes. It's a risk. It's a risk, that's all I can say. They have no awareness. See, that's what it is. See, they're not aware of the vehicle, the limitations and what they're doing, and they just bang things up. Unfortunately, a lot of people, when they start bodybuilding, they're like Toyota Corollas trying to 4-wheel drive. That's really the point. So yeah, don't be a Toyota Corolla. Don't be that. So yeah, I hope this answers your question about instinctual training and whether it can work or not. It really boils down to your awareness and how tuned in you are. So yeah, just observe, watch, and make decisions based on what you perceive in your body, what you see with the numbers, whether your strength's going up, whether your strength endurance is going up, or whether it's flatlining. And at the same time, pay attention to the sensations in the body, how you feel, and that will give you a good indicator of, let's just say, a way to navigate yourself through the dark spaces of training, meaning the places where you might not understand what's happening, but the sensation will be telling you before the effect. So yeah, it's like Jedi stuff. It's hard to describe, but trust me, you're going to get to this point at some point if you're not there already. Mountain. So I hope this helped out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgalantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now.